Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of our Borg playthrough. Now, I'm actually recording this after I've actually played, and the whole reason for that is I was a bit of a scrub and forgot to turn my microphone on. In fact, I had the mute button pressed the entire game, so it was quite frustrating. And it kind of gave me a chance to actually just talk over one of my videos for once. And as you can see, we've got some cubes just moving around at the moment, having fun, enjoying themselves, as they do. And I just wanted to kind of update you. I've got the progenitor now, and you're going to say, Bane, you didn't have that in the last episode. And the reason is I basically I was in dev mode, I was messing around with some code for Nemesis, and I accidentally damaged my game file. So I had to load an old version of Nemesis, and long story short, I had to play a little way forward. And now I have a progenitor. But we took Ayasha, so this is the same game, it's just slightly changed. I got Ayasha, I've put an outpost there. And this episode, my plan is to take the rest of the system, because once you've got a foothold, you're kind of sorted, really. And you wouldn't believe the amount of culture stations I had to like bomb around killing. So that's what I've been doing. I've recently conquered this planet as well, after nuking that down as well. You can still see some mines left there. And I'm going to build some interlink nodes now because I don't really need resources. You can see I have a whopping 262,000 credits. I think that is. No, that's even more than that. 2,622,000 credits. So my resources are just on the way up all the time. And so I've just stopped worrying about resources at this point in the game. So lots and lots of credits. Lots of easy ways to build. My starbase is moving to engage that lovely scout there. As you can see, yes, this starbase is rotating. That is true. So a new complex, obviously quite powerful. I think with the Uni complex, most people don't realise that it can actually build Borg ships as well. So it is worth upgrading to the final sort of marker as well. And as always, just waiting for the autosave. Now I'm going to send my fleet over. I can see Klingons are moving, and I think they're going to attack me. So I'm just going to shift some of my cubes down. Now the Romulans have been attacking Hathor quite a lot as well, so it's been one of those games so far where things have got quite annoying. Now, Isidore I've cleared. I'm going to bring my fleet back together. I think, if I remember rightly, I might send the progenitor off on its own in a minute, because the progenitor is pretty tough. I'm going to send the progenitor off on its own. There we go. And I want to see if the Federation are actually still alive or not, because it says it's blue. It's at Splaternum, so I was going to go check that out. And what I'm going to do is try and put unicomplexes down in most areas now, where I can.
You must comply.
There's my fleet coming back. I had no idea why it's just done a burst there, because there's nothing to burst. And we're going to bring our fleet back together.
Activate all outposts.
Now, some of you guys said in the comments, Bane, why don't you build some dodecahedrons to deal with fighters? That is a good idea, but the problem is they just die too quickly. So I'm not too bothered. I'm not really taking loads of damage from fighters. That is a good tactic against Borg. Lots of fighter spam. Typhons, especially for the Federation, are really good because they've got the elite fighters. Most people don't realise this, but a Typhon is actually powerful enough to take down a Negvar just on its own with a full bomber loadout. So Valkyrie spam is doable, but it does take a little bit more time than a full fleet. I've got to be honest with you. But the Borgs have no natural defence against fighters and bombers, so it can work, especially against AI. The Federation seems to be fighting the Klingons, so I thought, why not send the progenitor in to join this gal. I think who else we got? I think we've got Picard, and looks like Cisco's there, and quite a few things. So Klingons are being just a bit of pain. Poor Federation, getting pounded bit by bit. Now, I will need to build some turrets because I realise there's a Klingon planet bomber there, and that's going to be a little bit frustrating. Need to turn off auto placement though. Get some tactical development done, so that I can obviously get these turrets out and rolling. Obviously, you need to protect your planets. The AI are quite clever. They will try and dodge your turret ranges. So, and in some STA maps, you won't actually be able to fit turrets. You don't have enough turret slots to fit turrets around the entire planet to stop that. So you just kind of got to deal with it and send some interception out. I think I send my spheres back anyway. I go, if from memory, I go, spheres, you need to go back and deal with this. There's my spheres. I just grabbed them. Spheres are quite powerful, obviously, cruisers, so I can send them back to deal with things.
Resistance is futile.
What have we got? We got an outpost at this place as well, so. And at this station, I think I'm going to just upgrade it. I don't think I build. I don't believe I build a unicomplex. That's my trapezoid.
Negotiation is irrelevant.
Like the Federation are chasing Gowron, while the Klingons are chasing the Federation, the rest of the Klingon ships. So that's quite interesting.
Proceed to sector.
Right, Gowron's taking his. Maybe we'll just Gowron will fly straight into the progenitor, and that would be lovely.
Proceed to sector. Assimilate this vessel.
No Reaper beam at the moment. That's the only downside. So I'm gonna have to use conventional weapons. Voyager trying to chase down.
State your intent.
Station construction.
I'm gonna get the upgrades on 7 because I completely forgot to do that. I'm gonna check my other capitals. I take like Adapt Armor and Ultrinium Burst and things like that. I don't know what's happening in this battle over here. The spheres have arrived. They need to go deal with the planet Bonner, the Predator class there. Hopefully they should be able to handle that pretty easily, to be fair. There's 5 spheres there. And the rest of my ships, so the ships I've captured are probably going to die because they always fly in first because they're a lot faster, so Convex, etc. Something to remember as Borg is that your ships are still generically slow in the rest of it. It is worth moving sometimes your ships so they're not at maximum range but in close range with everything because then you get more use out of the bank, especially with the Borg. So manually moving in rather than letting auto attack happen. That's a good tip for you guys when playing the Borg progenitor here. Oh, I think we will Reaper Beam the Defiant because funsies, why not? It's a bit of a waste, but who cares? Sorry, Cisco. But your services are it always happens when I fire the Reaper Beam and auto save goes wrong. Your services are no longer required, Benjamin Cisco. You became one, not with the Borg, but with the afterlife.
Proceed to sector.
So again, not really much left now, just a few stations to clear up. The Klingons look like they're going to run away. Like big girls. And yeah, the threat of the planetary bomber is done and dusted. My Borg cubes and Armada have made short work of the enemy stations there. Came through, they're going to take out the trade ports.
We will adapt. Negotiation is irrelevant.
I'll bring old Lakiti pants in. So you generally, I think when you're at this point of the Borg, and the way that the cubes have been buffed in Nemesis now, you don't really feel underpowered, you feel quite powerful. You can still play, as I said in the last episode, you can still play cruiser tactics. There's nothing stopping you, building masses of Borg cruisers if you prefer that. But I do think there's something to be said for having the cubes now. I do feel that cubes are at a really interesting place. They do a lot of damage. They can target a lot of things. It's worth building them. So our project is just slowly moving forward. I'm going to try and get this planet captured. Can't do it yet because of the culture. So culture is an issue still. He's got to deal with some cultures. I'm hoping by building, again, more interlink nodes here, we'll be able to push the enemy culture back. Romulans are attacking Hathor. And I think I'm getting to the point of Hathor where I might just abandon it, let them kill everything there, and just reinforce my star bases with turrets because, taking on a fully upgraded assimilation complex as a fleet is still rather deadly and dodgy. So, if you've got Borg defences there and capture turrets, it makes it a lot harder. Don't forget they've got the cloud as well. So the Borg are really good. Like people say to me, the Borg defences aren't that good. Actually, if you max them out and use them the right way, the Borg defences are very, very good. It's just a case of needing to max them out. And I think that's really important. But you see me now just going to plonk loads of defense turrets down. And the AI, unlike human players, the AI will generally attack the star bases. They see it as a threat. They'll attack turrets. So cluster your turrets. What the hell? Oh yes, this is the game where I just realised that my simulation complex had actually captured like 30 odd scouts. So I wondered where all my supply was going. There's all these little scout ships here that I've captured over time, Romulan and Klingon. It's quite funny. I looked at that and I was like, where? And I go to check the other one to say, is there any there? No. So yeah, which is freeing up supply for me. So you can see my supply levels are now back in the positive areas. It's because I'm going to build some Unicomplex assemblers. Because obviously that is the downside. You run out of supply and you capture too many fins. You can't build a Unicomplex assemblers or planetary assimilators, so you then need to scuttle fins anyway. So, you know, people say, oh, well, you can just keep building up your fleet. But yeah, but if you want to build something in particular, you're then stuck. So, and as I said, if you're playing it properly, then the ships are probably, even though you've got them assimilated and you're using them against the enemy, using them against themselves, they tend to blow up pretty quickly against fortified defences. It reminds me very much of playing Chaos in Warhammer, because any captured prisoners, the Chaos either butcher them or they send them against the enemy's forces first. So poor guardsmen that get captured get sent back to try and locate the Imperium's defences, and the Imperium just shoot at them because, you know, Imperium. So it's quite clever tactics. You're using the Borg assimilated ships in the same way, using them as to take the fire, if you like, the brunt of it as the first wave, while your ships move in. They've used the shockwave ability there in the starbase, and it's just not going to do enough against this kind of fleet. If I'd had lots of Borg cruisers there, it would have been worse. But it's not going to do a lot against the Borg fleet now. But those Klingons, rather than be assimilated, detonated their starbase.
Activate all alcos.
That's the defiance of the Klingons for you. I know some people say, is that in character with the Klingons? Detonating starbase. If it meant victory. And they were desperate enough. I think they'd do that, yeah. The Klingons are honourable, but, you know... Oh, there goes my phone off. Sorry about that, guys, if you're hearing that in the video. They're honourable, but, you know, there are requirements to for the Klingons to sometimes act in desperate events and perform out of character. Sometimes, you know, while they're an honourable people, you know, they're not silly, they're not stupid. You know, although I do love that bit in DS9 with Martok and the Romulan Admiral, when he's goading him repeatedly, and Martok's completely taking the bait. That's why I love the Romulans. They're so sarcastic. It's great. They remind me of me. Perhaps that's why I like them so much. So yeah, here I am just deploying my turrets around my complex. Now you're just massively increasing your defensive fin, and this is the fin in Armada. The way we're building the outposts, and that'll be in a later episode because we've planned to show off a lot of Nemesis on the channel as we build up to its release. But you'll see that with the Feds and the Romulans, we've changed a few things about their outposts, and they will actually directly net benefit the turrets, and we'll show you that when we do a playthrough of the Feds or Romulans. So I think all in all, it's really impressive. You know, I think that stuff's really good. And I think by doing so, we make the Fed and Romulan defences feel a bit more powerful, because there's a lot of complaints that come in about the Fed and Rom defences, that they're too short range, they don't have the impact. And so I've tried to make turrets more impactful without ruining the balance of the game. You know, the fact is, you should be able to win. This is the theory I go for. If you had 3/4 the size of a fleet, but you have a good defensive setup, the defences should be able to make up for the fact that you may be on the defensive yourself, and so you should be able to hold the line against a fully packed out fleet. That doesn't mean the packed out fleet doesn't have, you're not looking for a stalemate situation, because you can't be everywhere at once with a fleet, whereas they can, because your defences are static. But it does mean that you have options, and that's really the point of defence, is to give you some kind of defensive options. players should have to choose when and where they attack you. And I do see a lot of players doing raiding tactics. Like the more experienced players will actually try and find out if you haven't defended all your worlds. So you might have put good defences up at your very front world or a choke point, but some players will just take the losses as they fly through the system and fly on to the next one. As raiders, they'll raid those systems. Progenitor's now at that romping the base. So the Klingons will probably try and attack the Progenitor rather than this fleet of Borg cubes.
We are Borg.
Station construction complete. Relocate to grid.
Yeah, I'm going to pull some cubes away because I'm just have a feeling that the Progenitor is going to end up in trouble if we don't bring some reinforcements to it. So we're going to do that. And this is where the transwarp system really comes into play, and that's the benefit of playing late game Borg. Honestly, you know, late game Borg should be about using your advantages, and each faction has specific advantages, and as a player, you should adapt to those advantages. Obviously, so the Progenitor is not really struggling at the moment, and I've captured those few ships from my simulation card. And I think with the Progenitor, setting your abilities to manual rather than autocast, well, you can leave them on autocast, but I do think this is one ship that benefits from you as a player manually targeting your abilities when you want them to go off. And you'll see me do that in this episode quite a bit. So, still attacking the planet though, 25% allegiance, 1,000 health. It does take time. Borg aren't necessarily the best. They need the Trapezoid. The Trapezoid is a really powerful siege beam that can decimate planets. And I've tried to make the Trapezoid in Nemesis feel a bit more, what's the word? A bit more usable, a bit more reasonable. I'm aware that sometimes players are not building the starter caps and they're just focusing on getting that first hero, and that's fine. But I do think that we need to make sure those starter caps still feel viable, and I think with the Trapezoid we've done that. The Trapezoid has a really good fleet buff. The Ambassador has a good fleet buff, you know. The Vengeance has a good fleet buff. So if you don't have that in there, you're missing out on a fleet buff. And that fleet buff can turn the tide of a battle. And that's what I say to the testers, actually. I say, well, what about losing that fleet buff then? You're not worried about that. And some of them are like, nah, not really. But I do think you like, for example, the Keldon class for the Dominion and Cardassians, you're not going to build that because that is a massive fleet. It gives you armor to your fleet now in Nemesis. So, you know, you're going to be a massive disadvantage if you don't build that one. So, I've tried to, as a balance of getting the starter caps to feel more worthwhile, put in fleet abilities that make them feel worthwhile. I'm not ever going to say to you guys that I can make every ship feel as good as it needs to be. There are some ships you might just not like building, and that, I'm okay with that. But as long as we get you building more ships, the majority of ships, then I think we've achieved a good balance. I mean, STA3 hasn't had many complaints about its balance overall. There's a few things that we're trying to fix, get laid down for Nemesis, and a few mechanics we're trying to change so that the game feels a little bit more aligned to where we want it to be. But generally, I think we're making a good mix of both single and multiplayer. You know, it's not just multiplayer now; it's single player as well.
Activate all outposts by your command.
So lots of good stuff happening. So I've divided my fleet up here. I'm feeling maybe a little bit overconfident. Now, this is where my Progenitor is having a little bit of trouble. I'm going to activate its transwarp hub, and you'll see me do this. Bear in mind, this Progenitor is pretty much fully upgraded. It went up pretty quickly. What that does is, I remember then that I don't have an actual gate at that world that I'm at, but what it does allow me to do is skip the Klingon planet there and send my cubes directly over to my Progenitor to aid it.
State objective.
Which means the Borg can be on multiple fronts, which is really, really handy.
Objective.
But the Progenitor itself at this kind of level is just going to wreck face anyway.
Proceed to sector.
Get the Unicomplex is upgraded that I've deployed.
The collective must grow.
By your command. Proceed to sector.
Trapezoid trying to move up with the rest of the fleet.
Initiating new directive.
Now my cubes have arrived, of course, we're in a much better position to finish taking this world in particular.
Station construction complete.
Now the projector is going to regen, and it's regenerating pretty quickly. It's just it's got so much health, it always feels like it's not. So it's one of those things. Now, interesting thing about the Reaper Beam. Reaper Beam, people think it's really overpowered, but watch what happens when I use it on this starbase. It's going to hit the starbase, but it's not an instant one-shot. And of course, the autosave goes off. But it's not an instant one-shot. So it does a significant amount of damage, it's taking the shields down, but it's still at 56,000 health. So it's not an instant win. My spheres have turned up now. And I think that's worth taking note of, really. Going to get a Unicomplex up here at the planet here as well. And start doing all its research and upgrades and tactical development. First thing I'm going to build, I start thinking about what I'm going to build, and I'm like, oh, I'll build this. And then I'm like, but what about a node, Bane? Have you built a node? Probably not. There's a sort of Kalis moving, I just noticed as well. Romulans are coming back.
Resistance is futile.
So the first mistake I made back there, which I think I pick up on later in the episode, is that I didn't build the transport hub at that planet that we just took. Look at this Klingon fleet walking in. Now again, I'm not going to use the cloud ability until more ships are in place. I'm waiting for it. I want to try and get the best spread of ships that I can. There we go. Quite a lot of ships. You see the ones that are affected. And now I have some more Borg ships to help me, and that's really gonna help. We're gonna target the heroes if we can, and the capital ships first. Now the Klingons are just sending their fleet in piecemeal, and that's really bad for them. I can see Martox coming in, so that's not something you really want to do. I'm attacking the Shattered World here, because there will be no starbase, so it will be a pretty easy fight for my Borg fleet there. So another outpost that's upgrading. So you see me zooming in and out quite a lot here, just going, oh, I need to check this interlink node, resource node. Adding a few adaptation nodes, just as like backups really. And the problem is I don't have a Reaper Beam at the moment, so I'm having to fight without that weapon. Again, I think this is a winnable battle. There's the Sword of Kalis. I don't want to fight the Sword of Kalis with this smaller fleet.
Instructions received.
We are the Borg. You will be assimilated.
And I'm trying to send the fleet over there, and I'm like, activate transport hub. Must get out here. And again, I realise I've not built the transport hub on this planet, and I'm like, what? Did I not build one here? And it'll be stuck in the queue, so the fleet won't be able to get there yet.
Negotiation is irrelevant.
I don't want to go that way because they're going to end up engaging the Klingons over there.
Proceed to sector.
Relocate.
But I think this battle over here is going pretty well, to be fair.
Activate all outposts. State objective.
Now we have taken some damage, but not to the point that we can't handle it.
Negotiation is irrelevant.
And then finishing up hitting the capital ships and stopping their engines with my cutting beams and holding beams.
Station construction.
So the Romulans are coming over to fight the Klingons. Don't know what's going on there, so we'll leave them. We'll leave them be.
By your command.
A little bit confused what the Romulans are doing. Maybe they've had enough of fighting my stations at Hathor. I'm still looking at this transport gate going. A little bit sad that it's not up and running yet. And again, that's why you must try and get your transport hub network up and running. It's such a powerful thing to have. Going to try and finish off this starbase. Hopefully with finishing this off, we're going to be in a much better position. It's looking good, looking good. So there's all my rest of my fleet. I'm just going to save it. You'll see me save it for certain times in the game, guys, just because the game was getting a bit unstable, where I've been making so many changes to the game overall.
Negotiation is irrelevant. Negotiation is irrelevant.
And again, I start to build turrets. This one, like, oh, I can't place my turrets. You'll see me start to place some turrets. And it's because I got the progenitor matrix there as well. That's why I've lost so many tactical slots. And I have a sneaky suspicion I'm about to be attacked here by the Romulans. I am.
Station construction complete.
I checked my station and realised the horrible horror that I have not actually set it to upgrade, which is not good for me.
Station construction complete.
Now I'm wondering, do I need to send my fleet down, or is my fleet okay?
We are the Borg.
They're too late now, they're already there.
Station construction complete. Instructions received.
So it looks like the Romulans are going to bring on a full attack down the south.
We will adapt. Resistance is futile.
State objective.
Whereas the Klingons are kind of just running away.
Negotiation is irrelevant. Assimilate this vessel.
So
Adapting weapons array.
sending some of the cubes, etc., over to deal with the Romulans, leaving the progenitor there for the minute. I am wondering where all the Romulan capital ships are, because they're obviously not there. A lot of Falcons in there.
Station construction complete.
Desperately need to get that transport hub running, but we haven't got an outpost there, but how long it will last. And as a basic outpost. The Borg outposts aren't the cheapest to upgrade. When you're not at this situation with money, because also we're such late game now. Money, as I said earlier, isn't a problem.
Proceed to sector.
So I'm going to bring my fleet back at least to here.
Proceed to sector.
And leave one tactical cube there with the progenitor, just in case the Klingons decide to come back.
State objective.
And believe me, they probably will come back in this episode. And then again, this is where the cubes can be problematic, so I'm just setting my fleet to move independently of each other. So they're not going to line to warp together.
You must comply.
But again, Borg jumping to warp is so fast, barring the Queen here, who just seems to be having a little bit of a holiday.
By your command.
There goes my trapezoid.
By your
Heading
command.
to the planet there.
Begin assimilation.
I'm going to use its siege beam to do some damage.
By your command.
You can see the Sword of Kalis again moving down to Atonite. And I suddenly realised I probably might not need my Romulan fleet down here. My Borg fleet down here. I'm going to check our research, anything worth getting. So nearly upgraded, but not quite. So my fleet's now arrived. There's cubes coming in. The Romulans will be forced to retreat, no doubt, very soon.
Adapting
We are
weapons
the
array.
Borg. You be assimilated. Resistance is futile.
Resistance is futile.
We are the Borg. You will be
So
assimilated.
again,
Resistance is futile.
Klingons taking the opportunity to
Station construction.
push their luck.
Instructions received.
They're going to try and
Negotiation.
finish me off.
Negotiation is irrelevant. Activate all alcos. Activate all alcos.
Again, being ready to build some ships here. I think I'll build. Just some
Activate
probes,
all
etc.
alcos. The collective must grow.
Lots of small ships. They're still good small ships. Don't think I get many out if I remember right, because I end up start capturing things again, and they don't all get built. A few of them do though.
We are the Borg. Activate all alcos.
The Romulans have cloaked themselves like the cowards they are. Well, the rest of the Romulan fleet is actually still at Hathor, clearing up my stations, etc.
Station construction complete.
Very slowly.
State new directive.
So we're going to have a look back at the progenitor now.
Negotiation is irrelevant. By your command.
There's the sword of Cadis.
Alcos. Station
Going to try and hit it with the Reaper beam. Now, I make a very bad mistake here. I hit it with the Reaper beam, but I'm aiming at the front of the sword of Cadis, and the sword of Cadis has a barrier shield up. So I do take its shields down, but because of the barrier shield reducing that amount of damage. Again, so that's a good tip. If you're playing the Klingons, you're playing a Borg player, and they go, you know they've got the protector, and they're about to Reaper beam you. Activate your barrier shield, and because the projectile has to face you, has to face forward to fire that beam. And people don't realise the subtle counterplay that exists within STA3. So that was my mistake. I should have been watching that sort of cases, and so I'm instantly regretting it, because that does put me at more jeopardy now with that gigantic Klingon powerhouse there. It does a lot of damage to sort of cases, so we need to be aware of that. You can just see from its mega cannons firing onto the cube there. Thankfully, it is attacking my tactical cube and not my progenitor, which again is the AI. Now I'm wishing I had anti-cloak ships, which I don't. Yeah. And the Klingons are trying to drop a starbase in my gravity world. That's just a no-no, really, isn't it, Klingons? It's just a bit naughty.
all alcos. By your command.
I'm gonna deal with that. It won't be able to build it, but it's just the audacity. How dare they? How dare they drop a starbase in my gravity world of all gravity worlds? It's all mine. So these things happen. Oh, excuse me, yawning today. I need to wake up a little bit. I need some coffee.
I am 7 of 9.
So again, just picking up the last few abilities there. So we've got Orpheus, we've got Ayashi. We've taken most of this sector now. There's not really a lot to worry about. We're pushing out pretty well. This whole sector will become ours. I'm pretty confident on that. So all the Federation space, or what was left of the Federation space, is going to be mine.
By your command.
Is that them trying to build a starbase there as well? I believe so, yes.
State objective. Assimilate this species.
I got my own world going up there now.
You must comply.
Proceed to sector. Proceed to
I think I realised there, I was like, why are you doing that? You need to get your transwarp hub up first, bang. So I finally realised the error of my ways, get some turrets up.
invalid objective.
So I'm glad I realised what was going wrong with my decisions there. No worries about that outpost again getting put up because it's not going to have time. I did bring my Borg fleet back to just kick the Romulans a little bit. And I think the Romulans leave by the time I get there, so it was a bit of a waste. I got some pros and some other drones here as well.
Instructions received. Station construction complete. Negotiation is
So again, quite happy. You see all the Vex we own there now.
How may I serve?
So they finally finished
Maintain
Hathor.
this course.
Proceed to sector. Proceed to sector. Proceed to
What I
sector.
saving again.
I am 7 of 9.
Come on, 7, let's get over there. We've got some Romulans to kill.
Proceed to sector.
The collective must grow.
I do like diamond classes as well. They're so
You
useful.
must comply.
Not the toughest shit survivability wise for the Borg, but I like to have an extra diamond class on top of the Queen. Just because they're adapt armor ability. And having more Ultrinian bursts is never a bad
By
thing
your
to have.
command. Proceed to sector. By your command. Proceed to sector. Proceed to sector. Proceed to sector. We serve the collective. State objective.
So again, I've just got my trapezoid here now.
Proceed to sector.
Ready to fight.
Proceed to sector.
You notice we've got another outpost. The Sordicalis, I don't know where they're going with their main fleets, the Sordicalis,
You
etc.
must comply.
Station construction complete.
Maybe they're going to try and attack the worlds
Irrelevant.
that are already
Proceed to sector.
there. And I think to myself, I'm going to send down to Ayashi, and I think, well, I've got transwarp in a second on my progenitor, so hopefully I'll be able to stop these guys from warping in.
State objective.
Don't do it, I say. Don't do it. Let me bring you right to the fight.
Planetary assimilation complete.
So we've recaptured Hathor as well again.
The day will be ours.
Just to throw off the Romulans a little bit.
The collective must grow.
State new directive. Relocate to grid. Proceed to sector.
So my whole fleet now, and that's the power of the transwarp hub ability on the progenitor. So, is it worth getting the progenitor instead of more cubes? Absolutely. Just for that one ability.
Activate all outposts. By your command.
I'll try and capture some more ships now. That's my armada of cubes. So I think, guys, in the comments section of this video, I would like you guys, if you're watching, to tell me who you think should die first. Should it be the Romulans or should it be the Klingons? So if you let me know who our main target should be for this playthrough, in terms of finishing, then you let me know, and we will go after them. Because it's fun. I'm literally just going to plonk turrets down everywhere at Hathor just because it seems like a fun
We
idea.
serve the collective.
I'm not so unworried about the battle now. I'm just letting it play out while I focus on building my empire up.
Station construction complete.
want to get a resource node up, at least one. Don't really need the resources, but I just like the idea of having a massive network. Oh, doesn't seem to be much of their fleet left anyway.
Station construction complete.
Ready to fight. For the Empire.
Proceed to coordinates.
Proceed to coordinates.
Station construction complete.
So the Romulans at Hathor, then leaving Hathor again. Find that quite amusing. Quite amusing. I think though, guys, we may call this an episode here, and because we've been going for about 40 minutes, I think, and I guess in the next episode I'll let you guys decide who we should attack. We'll finish off the planets obviously first, because that's not going to take that long. But let you guys decide who we should attack, and we'll do that in the next episode. So I hope you're enjoying this. I hope it's giving you insight on how to play the Borg and Nemesis and what's upcoming for the Borg and Nemesis. If you've got any questions, of course, leave them in the comments. Make sure you continue to watch GB Gaming. If you're not subscribed, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bane, as always, signing out.